Achilles is the main character in the Iliad, which narrates the heroism during the Trojan War. Achilles became one of the iconic heroes of Greek mythology and modern literature due to his courage and strength. Upon avenging the death of his friend, Patroclus, Achilles became extremely aggressive and fierce. He became a symbol of courage in Greek mythology that is iconic. Homer's epic poetry, along with the Odyssey, still holds significant influence in Western literature to this day. This also applies to Achilles, the fearless warrior who became a symbol of valor. Sing, O goddess, the anger of Achilles, son of Peleus, is the opening line of the Iliad. It is a verse that depicts several weeks of the 10-year Trojan War, particularly highlighting Achilles' many accomplishments. Greek mythology explains that the hero is invulnerable because his mother, Thetis, dipped him in the river Styx as a baby. However, he still retains one vulnerable part of his body, his heel, which his mother used to hold him as she dipped him into the river. Achilles' death is not mentioned at all in the Iliad. The story of Paris killing Achilles by finding this one weakness in the Greek warrior originates from other ancient legends. This tale reveals that Paris shot the warrior in the heel with an arrow, thus killing him. The terms Achilles' heel and Achilles' tendon, which are still used today, originate from the Iliad. However, Achilles' death by Paris' arrow is not mentioned in the epic poetry. Interestingly, his death is narrated in later sources. One source mentions that the god Apollo directed the arrow to his weak point, his heel. Since the Iliad doesn't mention what happens to the Greek mythological hero next, there are many legends and other ancient writers who tell more about this Greek warrior's story. After the death of Prince Hector, Troy calls upon their allies to help fend off attacks from the Greeks. King Menon of Ethiopia is one of their allies who brings his forces to support Troy, but he is slain by Achilles in battle. Another legend states that Achilles fought the Amazons and battled the leader of the Amazon warriors, Queen Penthesilea. As he kills her with his spear, their eyes meet and he falls in love with her, but it's too late. In another account, Achilles marries the Trojan princess Polyxena and is believed to negotiate the end of the war when Paris releases the shot that kills him. According to other ancient writers, after his death, Achilles is cremated. His ashes are mixed with the ashes of his friend Patroclus. The Odyssey describes Achilles' great tomb on the shores of Troy, and Odysseus meets Achilles during his visit to the underworld among a group of other deceased heroes. Other legends mention the ancient Greek hero marrying Helen in the underworld. After his death, he becomes a semi-divine being. Achilles is a great hero of Greek mythology and Greek literature, as well as the star of the Trojan War. He leads the fearsome Myrmidons, city raiders, and the slayer of Hector, Achilles, who like a god is unbeatable in battle. Only the intervention of the god Apollo ultimately ends his long-standing legend as the greatest Greek warrior of them all. As the bravest, strongest, and even the most handsome hero in the Greek forces sent to Troy to reclaim Helen, Achilles is also too proud and wrathful. His reckless anger will harm both sides, his fellow countrymen, and even his enemies. In Greek mythology involving Achilles, the hero is born to the pair Peleus and Thetis, the Nereid. His mother held him over the god's fire, or in some accounts, the river Styx. The aim was to make her son immortal and his body invulnerable. However, the baby was held by his heel, so this part of his body remains mortal flesh, and ultimately, this weakness will lead to Achilles' downfall. Thetis, knowing her son is destined for a noble yet brief life, tries to hide Achilles from the world, so the boy is raised in Skyros with the royal family of Lycomedes. Even in some stories, he disguises himself as a girl. Some records also state that the hero's education comes from Chiron, the wise centaur who also counted Hercules among his pupils. The main source of Achilles' adventures is Homer's tale of the Trojan War in the Iliad. Indeed, it is argued that Achilles is the star of the work, and Homer himself depicts his story as the tale of Achilles' rage. At the beginning of the book, Odysseus, the cunning king of Ithaca, is sent on a mission to find Achilles and persuade him to participate in the upcoming war between the Greeks and the Trojans. Odysseus is a tough negotiator, and due to Achilles' ambition for glory, the embassy succeeds, and Achilles, leaving behind his son Neoptolemus, sails to Troy. With him depart 50 swift ships, each carrying 50 men from his own private army. The Myrmidons, fearsome fighters transformed from ants by Zeus, given to his son Aeacus, king of Aegina and father of Peleus. The Achaean siege of Troy lasts for 10 years. During this time, Achilles excels in battle and raids no less than 23 cities in the surrounding area. Early in the conflict, the hero also ambushes the Trojan prince Troilus as he drinks from a spring and sacrifices him to honor Apollo. This is fortuitous for the Greeks, as a prophecy had decreed that if the prince were killed before reaching the age of 20, then Troy would fall. In some accounts, Troilus' murder takes place at a shrine of Apollo, which may explain the god of archery's great resentment towards Achilles.